All right, U4A6 parallel and perpendicular lines, and what? First of all, we should go over what that means. Parallel lines are lines that do not meet. So we always talk about the train track. Oh, that's too good. But we talk about the train track. You look at the left track, the right track. They're straight. They move at the same angle. They move at the same slope, I guess. We should be talking more about slope than angles here. And they will not meet. Okay, so two parallel lines go on forever and never touch. And you can imagine here's our equation. We have y equals mx plus b. The key to that is, do they have the same slope? So if I have a line like this and a line like this with the same slope, and another line like this with the same slope, they'll never meet. They are parallel lines. So they'll have the same slope. And when we do questions in math class, the only difference will be what is their b. Okay. So what's the b? And if you're not given the b, you can figure it out. So for example, if I say, what is the equation of a line that is parallel to the line y is equal to -3 halves x plus 6, but goes to the point, but okay, let's keep it simple, but has the y-intercept of 2, well, then I know that my m is the same, so y equals mx plus b, my m is the same because it's parallel, and my intercept is 2, so I just put a 2 there, and I'm done. Now, if I had another question, same thing, parallel to both these lines, but goes to the point, let's just say the point -1, -3, and I want to figure out what is the equation of that line. Same slope, but goes to this point. What you do is, this is an x value, that's a y value. You go back to what we did last day. We don't know what b is. Okay, that was a 6, that's a b here. So I know that any line that is parallel to these two lines is of this form, okay? But I don't know what b is. Is it up here? Is it down here? Is it in between them, or whatever it is? We don't know. We need to find this out. So if it goes to the point -1, -3, we're going to sub that in and solve for b. So if I do that, I have -3 is equal to -3 halves x, which in this case is -1, plus b. So a little bit of algebra here. Let me pull this down. So that is -3 is equal to, negative times a negative is a positive. So now I have 3 halves plus b. So you might want to change this to 1.5, up to you. I'm solving for b, so I have -3 minus 3 halves plus b. Oh, sorry, is equal to plus b, or is equal to b. And then when I keep going here, that's -3, subtract 3 halves. You can do this a couple ways. You can change this to -1.5, 1.5, to get -4.5. Another way is to have a common denominator here. So -3 can be written as -6/2. Subtract from that, -3 halves is equal to b. That's -9 halves is equal to b. Or, because it's a terminating decimal, remember we talked about decimals that end, and halves do end, so this is -4.5. You can write it like that. So that's my b, that's my m. Y is equal to mx, -3 halves x, plus b, which is -9 halves. Okay, you want to change this to this, feel free. Okay, same thing. So that's how you come up with the equation for parallel lines. Perpendicular lines now, go through the content to figure out why this is the case, but perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals to each other. So if I have a slope of 2 and I have a perpendicular line will intersect at 90 degrees. So my drawings aren't the best, but that's 90 degrees, that's 90 degrees. And I want to figure out what's my slope here. Well, it's going to be a negative reciprocal of 2. So if 2 is my initial slope, the negative, remember that 2 is the same as 2/1. And a reciprocal is flip the denominator with the numerator and vice versa. So 2 becomes 1/2. And then because it was positive, it's negative. So what's the slope of the line perpendicular to 2? Sort of thing again. What slope of a line is perpendicular to a line that has a slope of 2? Well, that slope is -1/2. Okay, if my initial slope was 6, my perpendicular slope is -1/6. If my initial slope was -3, then I flip this to be -1/3, but then I make that positive. That's negative. The negative of negative is a positive. Okay, if I have a fraction, it's even easier. 3 halves is my initial slope. Flip it to 2/3, make it negative. If this was negative, this would be positive. So if I have 6, if it's a weird number like 6.5, we won't do that to you, but if it is 6.5, it'll be 1/6.5, and you can figure out what that is. Throw that in the calculator, figure that out as a ratio. Or 6.5 is 13 halves. That's one way to look at it. Flip that, I have -2/13. Okay, so the same sort of questions. If I said, okay, what slope, what is the line that is perpendicular to this line? Okay, what is the slope of a line that's perpendicular to this line? My m is going to be 1/2 negative 1/2. Okay, and if I said it had a goes through, so and think of this too, guys. Here's a line. Okay, so there's my line there. And if I said how many lines are perpendicular to this, well, that guy's perpendicular, that guy's perpendicular, that guy's perpendicular, that guy's perpendicular. All these are perpendicular. All these green lines are actually parallel to each other. So there are an infinite number of lines that are parallel to each other. There are an infinite number of lines that are perpendicular to each other. The only difference is where do they hit this axis? Okay, so we need to find that out. And in this case, if I had a question that said, find a line that's perpendicular to this, okay, there's my slope, and passes through and has, or let's make it simple, and has the same, let's say it has the same y-intercept. Well, this y-intercept was -5, so this would be this would be y equals mx plus b, and that would be -1/2 x. There's my m, and my b was -5, so this b is -5. If I told you I want a line that's perpendicular to this and passes through the point 0, 8, okay, 0, 8 is 0, 8 would be over here. That's a y-intercept, so this would just change to +8, okay? But the hardest question is just like the previous question that I did with parallel lines. Let's say I want to find a line that's perpendicular to this and passes through the point, not 0, but 6, 4. Okay, so it passes through the point 6, 4 and is perpendicular to this. I have this part. I know it's perpendicular, so I know my m is, like I said, -1/2. And I don't know what b is. So I solve for b by subbing in x, 6 and 4 for x and y. So this is 4, this is 6, and now I solve for b. 4 is equal to -3 plus b. Bring that over. -3 plus 3 on each side. There's b. 7 is equal to b. So now I have y is equal to -1/2 x plus 7. So that would be the answer to that question. That's about as hard as it gets. Not easy. Take your time with it. Any questions, send me an email. Take care.